Good evening, folks. It is 8 p.m. Eastern. You know what time it is. It is time for your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast, and we have so much to discuss tonight. Saturday night's main event goes down this weekend in Salt Lake City, and there is one question on everyone's mind. Who should be the next World Heavyweight Champion, Jey Uso or CM Punk? We will get into that, take a look at the rest of the card, and so much more here tonight. We're going to talk about sports betting some. We're going to talk about the NBA even, because there was a scandal that broke last week, and we touched on it briefly on the show. But I think this is going to warrant a bigger discussion, because the question quickly becomes, is sports pro wrestling? We're going to get into that, folks. And NXT Halloween Havoc went down. Lots of stuff to get into tonight, folks. It's going to be a fun hour. Get ready. Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast starts right now.
Big Gold Belt, Big Gold Belt, Big Gold Belt.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us here tonight on the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. I am Will in the center of your screen. To my left is Damian G down in the Lone Star State, and to my right, the Giant Crab Jamal. Gentlemen, how are we doing this week?
One more win. Bring it home, Blue Jays.
That's right, World Series time.
Yeah, actual World Series, since Toronto's actually, in it. So World Series time. I love it. Anybody but the Yankees.
There you go.
Yeah,
It is busy sports time of year. I think the sports equinox was this week. We had the night with football, World Series, hockey, basketball, all at the same time. I think Monday night it was. Yes. So there you go. Yes, indeed. There is lots happening. There is lots happening this time of year. We'll be talking sports later. We're going to talk some sports in the middle of the show. Yeah, it's interesting times. So we'll touch on that later. But first, folks, pro wrestling, that is what we are here for. And this Saturday night, all eyes turn to Salt Lake City for Saturday night's main event. Now, usually we talk about these bigger shows, pay-per-views, WrestleManias, SummerSlams, Full Gears, all types of things. No, we're talking about Saturday night's main event this week. And this might be a bit of a different Saturday night's main event this go around. Because one, it's not on NBC. This is Peacock. This is a Peacock exclusive, apparently YouTube in the rest of the world. So they will not be confined by the Saturday night's main event format they have had previously with the commercial breaks and all that. So I'm kind of thinking this makes the show a bit more interesting, because it might be closer to more of like just a regular PLE show where it's like, okay, we can kind of just do whatever. But Saturday night on Peacock, not on ESPN in the States. It's on the old Peacock app in Salt Lake City, and all eyes are on this main event. Because all of a sudden now, we have a match for a held-up world title. This was definitely not planned. We went into this a couple weeks ago with Seth Rollins' injury and trying to wonder, okay, is there something kinky going on here? Is there something weird? But now I think it's pretty much, it seems definite. They weren't planning this. These have been dealt some cards. And now we have a situation in front of us. So before we talk about anything else on the show, this is by far the most interesting part of Saturday night's main event this week. Singles match for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. One side of the ring, you have Jey Uso. On the other side, you have CM Punk. Damian, I'll go to you first. The question is very simple. CM Punk or Jey Uso? Who should become World Heavyweight Champion?
Jey Uso. And the reason why I say Jey Uso is because slowly but surely he's becoming mini-me tribal chief. Backstage segments with his brother, fighting LA Knight, not caring about Punk, looking out for himself in the Battle Royal, yet still gets face pops, which is a different conundrum all in and of itself. But we've seen Punk with the heavyweight championship, albeit 5 minutes, when he beat Gunther. So to quote Friends, this is the perfect time to pivot and try something new, because you know what you have with Punk, but you don't know what you have with a tweener Jey Uso that is not always preening and running it back. I know he did it most recently, but the little edge of old school Uso penitentiary Jey Uso, is something I'd like to see with the World Heavyweight Championship. On this very show, I've said I think he might be the new member of the Vision with Seth out, just as a nice little added twist, because he's tired of being in Roman's shadow. He'll be tired of being in Jimmy's shadow, tired of dealing with Punk and with LA Knight. So what's the best next thing? Strength in numbers. Now he has potentially a goon squad. Hopefully you keep him away from the NFTs by all means, please. But aside from that, I really just think, even if it's short term, like his first world title reign, if you want to make Saturday night's main event something to talk about, if you're going to have a winner, mind you, barring any dusty schmazzes,
any shenanigans,
yes, let it be Jey. If anything, well, we already seen the WrestleMania match, but hey, Jey versus Jimmy for the World Heavyweight Championship, switching roles as in heel and face would be pretty interesting, at least for me.
Okay, so you're going with Jey Uso, but Jey Uso with the edge. You don't want
Yes.
Jey Uso that we had back at WrestleMania.
No.
winning the title. You don't want just yeet Jey Uso.
No.
You want Jey Uso with the edge. Okay.
Yes.
All right, Crab, I go to you. Who should be World Heavyweight Champion this Saturday night?
Damian made the case for Jey Uso. Unfortunately, I can't do that. So I have to make the case that it's not Punk. And it's not because I don't like Punk. It's just that who has much more upside? What do you do with Punk with the World Heavyweight Championship? Not as much as you would if you had Jey Uso, who has all of the context behind him, with the bloodline, which is always a thing that they can start up again, with Yeet Mania and everything like that that's been going on with them. So it's the lesser of two evils being Jey Uso. And honestly, if I had to choose between them and interjecting a third person, that would probably be what I would want to do. But since it's just the two, it's not a matter of me wanting Jey Uso to win. It's just me not wanting to see Punk with the World Heavyweight Championship. I just don't see what I really don't know why he's there. You know, I can't take him seriously as a World Heavyweight Champion. He's not like giving the rub to the younger guys that needs help. So it's just like, are you just there the same reason why Gallows and Anderson would be there? It's just like, hey, no, you know what? My Mondays are free and it's a paycheck. Let it ride. I mean, cool. He has a mortgage. I'm not mad at him, but it's just like legit within the company getting the storylines done. I just don't see it with Punk.
Huh. Both of you going with Jey Uso, but you're going more anyone but CM Punk. It's kind
Not
of
necessarily anyone, but because they could have said LA Knight and I would have thrown my computer in the river. But but realistically, I just don't see the upside with Punk carrying the belt into Survivor Series?
Right.
Like, do we really want a transitional champion? Because what does CM Punk bring to the table other than the fact that he's CM Punk, and he's CM Punk without the belt?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Star power, name value, that sort of thing.
All of those things without the belt. That's why he's there in the first place.
Right.
Now, you mentioned something interesting. You mentioned LA Knight, and I've seen a lot of people over the last week or two since they made this match. There are folks that are pressed about LA Knight, and they think he should be in this match, and they think he should be champion. Every time I see it, I'm like, I have lost touch with wrestling because I do not get it at that level for like world champion. No, hold up now. LA Knight, no. But man, I keep seeing it over and over again. It might, I want to say it's almost at the level of all the Killer Cross Mania, but it's pretty darn close where there are some folks who are pressed about LA Knight and why he isn't in this match.
Do you think it's because of like the false starts with his pushes over the last maybe year or so, where you think that you're getting something and you think they're going to give him the ball to run with, and it just doesn't happen for whatever reason?
But that's been happening for a couple of years now with him.
Yeah. So is it like now or never with LA Knight? And I think that never was 6 months ago.
I think the never was 6 months ago as well.
I mean, I never saw him as a guy that would be at world title level. I never saw him, maybe as a contender or something, or like,
Sure.
a contender of the month.
I
But
could have
not
made the
the
case
guy
for
with the
it,
belt. No.
but they had the Slim Jim match with Bray Wyatt, and I'm like, well, the blackout match, right?
Blackout
right,
match, yeah.
right.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, the Mountain Dew blackout match, and I'm like, well, yep, it's all downhill from here.
I forgot about the Mountain Dew blackout
Good.
match. That was a while ago.
The thing, because that's kind of where it's been. Like, and he had so much going for him, specifically at that time.
Right.
And that happens, and it was worse than like the Red Hell in the Cell. Just contextually, I mean, the match was the match, but it was such a bizarre concept that you just couldn't get behind it, and it's just like, well, what do we do now?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And even though that was what it was, it just kind of tanked his his rise, and the air's out of the balloon at this point. And they tried again and again and again and again. And I get it. If you're a fan of his, you're like, okay, this is the one time. But he's trying to run a race on a flat tire at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's almost 2026. We're talking about LA Knight main event run. I just don't see it. I don't see it, but damn, there's some kids out there sure seem to. Okay, so no one's saying CM Punk, and Lord knows I am no fan of CM Punk. Lord knows I don't tend to watch his stuff. But an idea I've heard kicked around a ton in this scenario is kind of what Damian was saying with Jey Uso, but what if CM Punk wins the belt, but then flips the script and he goes back with Paul Heyman and the guys in the Vision, and it's a CM Punk heel turn as champ and a return to CM Punk Paul Heyman pairing instead of just, the CM Punk we've had since he's returned, where it's been kind of, Mr. High Five and crowd and, all that. I don't know. Damian, what about that scenario?
I would like it if Punk and Heyman didn't have the falling out 7 months ago in the night one main event of WrestleMania.
That's
At
true.
least to me,
Yeah.
that's still a little too short of time to forgive and forget. I know it's wrestling. I know we make up the timelines as we see fit, but 7 months ago, you hated this man. 7 months ago, you wanted to kill this man. Now all of a sudden, you know what? Let me join him and his friends. No. If this was Punk circa 2014 or 2012 when he turned on the Rock and everybody hated him.
Yeah.
Like, that came out of nowhere because he needed the freshening up of the character. CM Punk right now is a main event attraction. He doesn't have to be involved in anything every Monday or every PLE. At this rate, his storyline was with Seth Rollins, cashing in on him, trying to get a hold of him, the Vision getting in the way. Unless you're going to turn around and say CM Punk pulled "It was me, Austin," and beat up Seth Rollins or something, right? Beat him up off stage. I don't see that being a turn that makes, and again, it's wrestling, but it doesn't make a lot of sense storyline wise because he's been chasing Rollins this entire time since SummerSlam. Now, another 3, maybe at Survivor Series, because that's the pay-per-view or the PLE of betrayals, right? So I would anticipate something like that during Survivor Series. But on Saturday night's main event, I can't see that.
Okay. I mean, I think the wild card here is just we're in this scenario where they weren't planning on any of this. So it's kind of like, okay, can we make something out of the cards we've been dealt here where, damn it, we don't have Seth. We're heading into WrestleMania season in, 2 months or so once we get past Survivor Series. So it's like, I don't know, they're having to move some pieces here. So I kind of feel like, I would never have expected that, given the if everything was where we normally were going to be right now. They definitely weren't headed that direction, but we might be in a scenario where it's like, we got to do something. We got to give these folks something on Saturday to shake things up. Otherwise, it's, things are in an odd place right now, I guess is where the main to be. Now, Crab, any thoughts before we
Well, yeah, you said it's in an odd place. Don't disagree. Then why not inject someone new into the fold. And,
Okay.
so I'm not saying that it makes the most sense to just put him in there right now, but you're telling me that there isn't a space in this conversation for an outgoing AJ Styles. You're telling me that it isn't space in this conversation for Dominic Mysterio. You're telling me there isn't space in this conversation for well, obviously Cody has a different belt, but like you can't they don't have to shoehorn in the plans that they originally had. They can scrap it and go on with something else. And God bless them. WWE, it works well with their backs against the wall.
Yes.
When the sixth man of the year, Viral Meningitis, came through, WWE went to work and put on one of their best shows in recent memory a couple years ago. But I just think that trying to force this thing, force a CM Punk, and maybe Jey Uso is the only main event-ish baby face that they kind of got right now. You sure? I mean, we haven't seen Gunther as a face. I mean, is that not something that's worth exploring, at least on paper? So I think that there are options, and it does seem like they know that they booked themselves into a corner, or they just refuse to pivot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, let's just get through this, and then we'll make our way towards Survivor Series in a month.
Has there been any kind of stip added to this match?
Not that I've heard of. It just says singles match for the vacant world title. I've not, unless they can pull like a sudden like, oh, now it's no DQ or something. Like I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens. We still have SmackDown before Saturday, so they could easily shake things up in some manner.
And that's also a thing too. I mean, if it's for the vacant title, then why aren't we seeing maybe a TNA guy sneak into the conversation? Mm-hmm. Why aren't we seeing a high level NXT that call up that we've been waiting for?
Time to call up Trick Williams.
I mean, not necessarily call up Trick Williams to win it, but I don't necessarily need to see. Did we really want to see CM Punk in a 35-minute match for the vacant world title?
God,
no. But we're going to get a 25 to 30-minute match because it's the main event of a PLE for a title. Make it a 4-way. Have Joe Hendry sneak in there. Have your Trick Williams sneak in there. And then you can smudge the finish whichever way you want, and then have Jay still win it. But I'm just saying we need some more intrigue other than an old banana and the banana that you've had before.
Right.
Like either are fine. Neither, like, it doesn't really matter who wins, and that's part of the problem. Whether it's Punk, it's not the end of the world. If it's Jey Uso, that's also fine too. So who am I rooting for? Who am I rooting against? What's the story here? The story is, sure.
What are the odds do we think that WWE just makes a schmoz finish and nobody wins?
I got a feeling they want someone to have the belt. And I think they're going to want some news coming out of this show to get some interest in Survivor Series going, I think.
Well,
the reason why I ask is because since there's no stip, that's why I asked, because I'm thinking there's no stipulation and it's just a standard one-on-one match. You got to throw something in there to make it more interesting. So to Crab's point about a 35-minute CM Punk match or a 25-minute Punk match, you got to make it enticing. So I would hope that there's some random, Adam Pearce comes out and says, you know what? Let's make this a triple threat just because. I would love to see that.
I wouldn't be shocked.
You know what's worse than a 35-minute CM Punk match? A 33-minute CM Punk match that gets tossed because of a shitty finish. And so
to go through all that and then get nothing. Yeah,
right.
That's a whole.
So that's one thing. What would be equally as bad to that is just to throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks. Yeah. Because if you're not going to storyline your way into the situation, organically in the sense of, hey, the belt is vacant. Who says that it's just you two guys? I don't care. Make it happen. I want in, mystery wrestler. That's not even breaking new ground, but it's still better than what we have right now. Because now we just have honestly, and then again, this is not like, and I know it's going to sound trite, but this is not at the detriment of either guy. But we have buttered toast and unbuttered toast.
Still got.
I don't care which one you think is buttered or not. It doesn't matter. But that's kind of what we got right now.
Yeah.
And it'll be fine, and you'll like it, and then we'll move on.
Yeah. It's missing that something extra.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at the rest of the show real quick, we got 3 other matches announced at this point as far as what else is happening on Saturday night's main event. We have a triple threat match for the Intercontinental title, Dominic Mysterio defending against Penta and Rusev. We have a singles match for the WWE Women's Championship, Tiffany Stratton defending against the returning Jade Cargill, who just turned on her on SmackDown. So that match has some added spice to it now. And last but not least, we do have one other world title match. We have Cody Rhodes defending the world title against Drew McIntyre. Once again, no stipulation as of this moment. So that's the show at this point. I kind of get the feeling they'll probably add something on SmackDown, but I don't know. This show, I look at that show on paper and I'm just like, it needs something. It needs some kind of something coming out of it to spice things up.
The fact that it needs something is exactly why Cena should retire with the World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, go back to that idea.
I'm saying,
have it with the belt.
No, but we wouldn't be in this pickle right now of sauceless matches without the fact that Cody gets inserted to that conversation. Well, no, he doesn't, because he has his own business and everybody that's dealing with that, that thing. And to be honest with you, Cena walks away from the belt in about a month and change. Now that puts people the top gets a lot smaller, and now we have some interesting competition, or more interesting than what we have now, because you split the top of your card in half, and then people get injured. So that's why it feels more depleted than it is,
right?
Because of what they've doing. They've kind of cut themselves in quarters, and unfortunately, you need people, which is why we have. And granted, now, I mean, to be fair, contextually, it is Saturday night's main event. We're not talking about an actual premium live event. This thing easily could have been on NBC, but as a special show. But they're probably showing the Notre Dame game instead. Whatever. So this isn't something that it's bigger than Raw, not nearly as big as a pay-per-view. Okay, fine. But if it's not special, then what is it?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, is what role this takes. And what will be kind of interesting is like the next Saturday night's main event will be the John Cena retirement show here in DC. That's probably the thing I'm most curious about on this show, is not so much the matches, but just with it just being on Peacock, do they do a bit more with it than they would have done if it had been on NBC? Being, okay, we're not going to be so constrained with, we have 2 hours. It has to be done in 2 hours. We have to do these commercial breaks. That's the part I think I'm most interested in, is just how they can change it up, being this is just a Peacock event is all it is. So, I don't know. We will see. Saturday night.
Yeah, we go. Speaking of Saturday night's main event, because every now and again I'll look at the map. It's not. It will sell out, but it's definitely not selling out now. What do you think the cheapest ticket is? Regular price ticket on Ticketmaster, not resale. What do you think the cheapest ticket to get into the building?
I will go, knowing what the prices were here in DC for
Cena's last match.
I'm gonna guess it's less than that. I'm gonna say 200.
I would have said somewhere along the lines of 110, 125, around there.
Okay, so yeah, Damian, $110 won't get you in the zip code where the arena is, let alone
Jesus Christ.
Might get you the parking
to the building. Right. No, that ain't gonna happen. So yeah, for $110, you can watch the show in Baltimore, basically. So I have Ticketmaster pulled up right now, and the cheapest ticket that they have for one seat is $424.
Get the hell out
My
of here.
God, I wasn't even like halfway there with 210. I was figuring DC were seeing 300 for Cena. I was like, okay, I'll knock off 100.
Now, there are resale tickets. Some are higher, some are lower than resale value. The cheapest ticket, period, is $382. But that's a resale ticket. The cheapest regular price ticket that is face value is $424. And that is in section 429, row L. That is the second to the last row in the upper level, back to the wall of the arena.
My God.
And that's
making money hand over fist. It is crazy.
Right.
It is crazy.
So then that leads to a different question, and we talked about this before because TKO said family prices. The hell is that?
Yeah. They want the Taylor Swift prices. That's what they want.
It is Cena's last match, historic, event. Sure, it's an arena show. They're going to get 15,000, 16,000 in there, easy, no problem. The cheapest ticket is $390.
That's insane.
Maybe you can finagle it for a little bit less, but you're going to spend at least $350 to get it.
Yeah.
If a lot of the people like to go online and compare AEW house shows to attendance and what it looks like, the optics of an AEW show to the optics of a WWE show. That's not a fair comparison. They don't run the same size arenas. Their cameras are set up a little bit differently. You can't compare a Madison Square Garden show to the Westchester County Arena. It's not the same thing. Now, if these things happen and these prices become the norm, because of inflation or whatever the reason is, because TKO said, fuck your family, come to the show, give us money. What if people can't attend these live events anymore? You have these WWE shows look like AEW shows. People compare the optics. What does that do for WWE if they're pricing their fans in these cities out of the market? Now, DC's one thing. It's a special show. DC's a high price market. I don't see these prices happening in Wichita, Kansas, or fucking Billings,
Bismarck,
Montana. Yeah, Bismarck. Shout out to Bismarck. But still, comparatively, if you're charging $250 to get into a show in Wichita, nobody's going to that show. So what does that look like? If TKO prices themselves out of markets, do they just not go? Which is why they're going to Vegas for the second year in a row and just experiment less. And they're going to just follow the money to where the money is, and which again,
I'm sure. Yeah. You go where the money is, and if the money's not there, either you don't go, or if it starts happening everywhere, then the prices will come down. But until people aren't buying those seats, they're going to keep doing this. That's all it is. I mean, the way they look at it, and it's been the scenario now for a while, is because of this damn resale market and the way these scalpers will buy the tickets and then mark them up and be selling them for like $500-600 or whatever. Their thinking is, if the scalpers are getting that much money, that should be the price we should sell them at from the beginning, because that money should be coming to us. Why are we losing out on that money and SeatGeek's getting them instead? That's the thinking. Is like, if people are willing to pay that money, we should be the one getting it, instead of your SeatGeeks and your all your different StubHubs of the world, all those platforms. So that's the thing. The only way the prices come down is people got to stop buying the tickets.
That's it.
Yeah,
with your wallet.
That is true. It is interesting. I'm looking on Game Time for the same show, and because you mentioned StubHub, the cheapest ticket I see for one ticket is $383, and it includes fees, and that is in section 421, row N, and that is the absolute last row, 421 in the corner.
And what boggles my mind too about this, as we're talking about it, is the fact that this is just Saturday night's main event. It's not a major PLE.
Nope.
Cena's not advertised to be on the card. This is just standard operating WrestlePalooza type procedure for WWE, and you're charging that much money for the nosiest of nosebleed seats.
Well, I can't fathom. So that's why I brought up the question, because we were talking about how lackluster this Saturday night's main event seems, and their next one, is the historic Cena's last match show. Sure. And these are the prices that I'm looking at for the historic Cena's last match show. But it's also kind of like, at what point do you price fans out of the market? Now, granted, you're only going to get one Cena's last match show, and that's fine. But even for Saturday night's main event, which is when Salt Lake City, I think, those prices are still a hell of a lot higher than I think that I would have paid if I were in Salt Lake because of the cost of living. It's not as much as like a New York or a San Jose or something like that. So, you can get in for under $100, but you're going to be sitting in the nosebleed seats. If you want decent seats in Salt Lake, you're going to be paying around $200 to $300 a ticket. That's $1,000 with your family of three. I think that it's a slippery slope for WWE, and we're going to see one of two things happen. They're only going to run the same cities, or people are going to stop going to shows.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my final question before break: is when's the tipping point, or what is the tipping point to get to that level of we're done?
Yeah, and honestly, to the other caveat to that is, and this is kind of how it got started, is booking.
Yeah.
If the booking isn't at the level that justifies a $200 price tag for an overstuffed Raw or an overstuffed SmackDown, then do we need to go to the show?
Yeah. Well, they got working in their favor now that they're out of the country so much that it's a rarer occasion when they have these shows in the States, because they can be like, oh no, we're in Australia for the next one, we're in France, we're in Germany. So it's like they're not coming around every month like they used to. Now it's like once a year, maybe twice a year they come to your town, and that's it.
Yeah, I think they're about to go back to the UK.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it and see what does the bubble burst at some point. It sure ain't bursting yet, and we're heading at, we get through the next 2 months.
There.
Then we're on the road to WrestleMania season, and I don't see it bursting then. If the bubble's going to burst, it's got to burst like after Mania season or during the summer or this time of year. And if they're getting through this time of year, the fall, the dead fall on the road to Survivor Series with this, it's going to be a bit still, I think. It's going to be a bit.
Yeah. But then again, if they keep booking shows the way they're booking it, where it's kind of like, let alone going, do I even need to watch?
Yeah.
Is kind of where we are. And again, we talked about this before, and this could be the last thing. These 5 and 6 match cards, I'm going to need a little bit more for the exorbitant ticket prices to be in the building at the arena. You got to give me more than 5 or 6 matches with, when
you're hitting the wallet that hard, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
You got to get your money's worth. All right. Let's go to our halftime break, and when we come back, we will talk about this NBA scandal and sports betting, and is sports a work, and all kinds of stuff like that. This is going to be an interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to switching it up in the second half. So thanks so much for being with us here tonight, folks. Stay with us. Your Big Old Belt Wrestling Podcast. We'll be back right after this.
Looking to get your brand in front of people who eat, sleep, and breathe entertainment? Big Gold Belt Media is the place to be. We're all about reporting on movies, TV shows, conventions, and everything in between. And we want your brand to be a part of the action. Partnering with us means your sponsorships get featured right in the midst of our content. Plus, we're going to hype you up on all of our social media, connecting you with an audience that loves discovering new things from trusted voices in entertainment. We're easy to find. Just look for us on Big Gold Belt on all your social media platforms. Don't wait. Reach out today, and let's start building something amazing together. Your spotlight is waiting here at Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbelt.com.
Thanks so much for being with us here tonight, folks, on the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast, streaming live each and every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Whether you're with us tonight on Twitch, over on YouTube, watching on X, thanks for tuning in as we talk about the week in pro wrestling and so much more. We're going to switch things up for this next segment, because we talked last week. We just got a second to touch on it, and it led to a bigger conversation in our group chat. This NBA scandal with betting and poker games and coaches doing stuff and all kinds of stuff going on. The story broke last Thursday, kind of right before we went on the air, and we didn't really get to go into it in any depth. But Crab had some interesting thoughts on this. So I'm going to throw it to you to kind of set this up where you want to take this. But in a nutshell, I think the talk really becomes, is sports pro wrestling or is sports kayfabe in some way? So let's get into this.
Yeah. So that was kind of my thoughts last week thinking about this. In the NBA, their season just started and they had a major scandal that was, hot for a day and then people kind of went back to betting on basketball. But the first question, of course, would be the NBA. This isn't the first time that they've had a scandal with gambling. They've had a referee, go down for betting on fixing games. They've had some other players go down for fixing games. And now this thing involves, rigged poker game with like AR glasses and
X-ray tables.
Yeah, somebody saw that movie Now You See Me and went, we can make some money off of this. Somebody called up Woody Harrelson and asked him how he did it, and it went down. And apparently they were using these crooked games to fuel their mob debts with the Russian mafia, and it's a whole thing. And the coach of the Portland Trailblazers, Chauncey Billups, one of the greatest Detroit Pistons in the last 30 years, is definitely going to get a federal ID in a minute. A couple other low-level players are definitely being investigated. And knowing that this entire cabal of gambling and the rise of sports gambling, because during the breaking news of this story on ESPN, their lower third, which of course has the promo for ESPN Bet, was quietly removed as they were breaking the story of this illicit gambling ring and the FBI investigation in it. With that aside, because it is what it is and it's still developing and ongoing, let's just assume the worst and that it's all rigged everywhere at all times. Does this change how you view legit sports? Because, people say that wrestling isn't a sport because it's predetermined. Well, if everything else is rigged,
all right,
why can't we just kayfabe, ESPN and legitimize wrestling? Does this change your view on how you view sports? Or because you watch wrestling, is everything kayfabe and the rest of the world just caught up?
Mm-hmm. Damian, get in here first before I go.
I agree with Crab's last point about everything else is kayfabe. This is what happens when you get in bed with gambling websites, gambling aficionados, okay. So quick, if you can give me a little quick story time. Little Damien, way back when, unknowingly was part of, and I'm not going to jail for this, Crab, so it's fine, was unwittingly part of a spread issue, betting the spread concern in New York City. Unknowingly, I was helping a reputed drug dealer that I didn't know bet sports at the private social clubs, right? Because we all know about those social clubs.
Yeah.
Even when that got investigated, and I was called as a witness because I was a minor, they just kind of let me go. You didn't know what you were doing. You were just
info.fbi.gov. info.fbi.gov. Go ahead, Damien.
And that was just in the shadows, right? We're talking about the betting beforehand. And now let's take someone like Pete Rose, who got banned for betting on baseball.
Yeah.
Couldn't get in the Hall of Fame. Probably posthumously won't even get in the Hall of Fame.
No.
Now, with places like DraftKings putting down $4 million, $5 million just for podcast rights. My favorite show, Dan Le Batard Show. They got sponsored by DraftKings. I believe it's a minimum of $8 million. So when you get in bed with gambling, Vegas, overseas.
Thing.
What was that?
AEW has a DraftKings sponsorship.
Exactly.
You can bet on pro wrestling.
This is what, I mean, we can already, but yeah. This is what happens. You walk that line of, okay, it's cool to bet on these, but do it over there. Do it where we can't see you. And now it's, oh, this happened. And to your point, Crab, how quickly the turnaround time for the rest of us was like, back to normal. Because we knew this happened. We knew this existed already. It was just in the shadows. That's why it's such a big deal now. You mentioned the Donaghy scandal before. referees fixing games, and Sacramento Kings are still pissed because of that Western Conference Finals against the Lakers because of calls.
Right.
So my whole point is, why are we surprised? This has been going on since even before any of us were alive. You've mentioned
Literally 100 years.
Yeah, literally. Bookies make livings off of this. Gambling degenerates make livings off of this.
Right.
Why do you think it wouldn't permeate into professional sports or people who are in professional sports in illegal back gambling rooms? This is par for the course. We're just hearing about it now because it's high profile. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let me you follow up with that and say, like, I think the reason why this is so mainstream now is because gambling has become mainstream. You're describing a scenario with this little Damien character that we don't know, where, in the back rooms of Flushing, if you walk past the Smoky Powgow table, through a laundromat,
you had to know someone and know where to go.
Yeah. But the idea is there was an etiquette to it. It was a thing that was very serious. It was taken very serious. It was not a place, for kids or whatever. This was something that was, and it had like an air of exclusivity because you just couldn't walk into a gambling den and put money on the table and say, put my money on this.
Yeah.
And who are you? Get out. Yeah. He's a cop. Yeah. So there's that. And now, 14-year-olds in their bathtub can pull up the DraftKings app, the MGM app with Jamie Foxx, or the whatever Bet365 app, or pick your favorite betting app.
Rather than
bet on literally everything. What color will this person's shirt to be? And then, of course, the idea of gambling has permeated culture so much where you have on Twitch, you can have gambling for Twitch chat points. You can do that same thing with YouTube. I play Pokemon trading card game Pocket, and half the game is just looking coins. It's it's 50-50 until you get tails 3 times in a row. That shit is rigged. So the idea of chance and odds, are pervasive through all levels of society, at least here. And then we say, oh yeah, well, if you have a gambling problem and you live in these following states, please call this number.
Right.
1-800-GAMBLER, folks.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call the thing that makes the happiest in the world, and I'm going to get them to tell me to stop doing that thing, even though it's ruining everything for me. But you know what? Fuck it, we ball, because I'm going to gamble anyway. Personally, I actually do not gamble. I don't get it. I don't have enough money to lose to just be like, fuck it, we ball. But it's the idea that in the NBA, because this is an NBA issue, even though it's happened in every other sport, the NBA just came out with it. For one reason or another, will this change the argument against wrestling? That because wrestling is quote unquote fake, because the immediate rebuttal is, well, so is the Avengers, but you cried over that. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, that's, maybe not a fair comparison. Yeah, but so is the NBA.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah, and they're both on ESPN now. It's like we're on WWE's on the same darn platform.
Connect your Bet ESPN app to your ESPN Plus platform. And make your parlays right now. Hell, what are the odds that Uso or Punk is going to win? What's the line? What's the over under on the match time? There's so many stupid ass things that you can bet on if you have money to lose, and you do. But the thing is that we know what wrestling is.
Yeah.
So I think this actually helps wrestling, because I'll be damned if I let somebody that says, hey, we don't have that issue in bowling.
Yeah.
Sure about that?
I tell you this. I tell you what every old pro wrestler would used to say about this kind of stuff. They would always say it's all a work. Whether it's the NFL,
always be working.
NBA, whether it's the baseball, it's all a work, just like pro wrestling, because number one reason why, there's too much money involved for it not to be. Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose, and if you don't think there's some kind of shady business going on controlling all that, and certain people are getting rich and some people aren't, level playing field, no. Any old time pro wrestler would tell you it's all kayfabe. It's all over. They tell you NFL every Sunday. They're gonna be watching it, But yeah, it's all work at the end of the day. So I don't know, man. It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah, it's weird that something like that will come out now. And Pete Rose passing away a few years ago, and it's like, well, what will happen? Will he ever be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Barry Bonds, not a gambler per se, but definitely, he's been in baseball since. I mean,
Michael Jordan
took a job. Yeah, well, Jordan was a known gambler.
Yeah.
But
remember, allegedly he retired because personal reasons, but the rumor was his gambling addiction got so out of control. David Stern was none too happy with him.
Right. So I've heard that rumor too. But it is kind of like, well, whatever this is, and this NBA investigation is still going on, and the government's, still working their way through it. It is still kind of like, how can you watch this and watch wrestling and go, nah, this one's real?
Mm-hmm.
It just that argument's dead now.
Sports entertainment. Yeah.
Right. Which is honestly, now that we know that sports is really realistically sports entertainment, what do they need to do to get to that point? Because we've seen the UFC take cues from WWE in their presentation. Obviously, that makes sense because they bought the company. But would sports be more enjoyable if it were kayfabe? Because realistically, ESPN spends half their day talking about the storylines of your favorite sports team.
No, good point.
Right.
They spend billions of dollars to promote the 5 or 6 top teams in every sport that they offer. Well, we have Hell in a Cell, and instead of we got a PLE coming up instead of Monday Night Football. Just we got World War III coming up instead of Week 17. Just make it something. If you're going to cheat, if you're going to gamble, if you're going to bullshit us, make it entertaining.
Yeah,
I'm sick of seeing guys in basketball score 300 points a game and nobody play defense. Kayfabe it. Throw up the X every now and again.
Get some worked injuries in here.
Yeah. Well, is that a working shot or is that a shoot shot? Yeah, okay. What are we doing here?
Like, that hamstring pull looked a little suspicious in the fourth quarter last night.
Yeah, well, there you go. But that's also a thing too. Like a lot of videos now are coming up where we're seeing like the camera. I think Kevin Durant was at the free throw line, and then there was a guy that was doing this, and then he did this, and then he did this, and Durant was
calling.
So just fire Adam Silver and get the anonymous Raw general manager. He'll know what to do.
No.
All right. Yeah, I think we got it. There we go. I guess we'll see where this scandal goes. But it's like no one be surprised. Come on now, folks. Don't be acting all. I can't believe it. Come on now. Come on, please. We're all adults here. We know what people be doing. Like I said, you ain't got to know some shady person anymore to place your bets. It's all on your phone.
Yeah, it's not Joey Numbers. It's an app now.
Yeah. Good Lord. You have your choice of platforms by the hundreds at this point, it seems. So, all right, what do we want to wrap up with here in the home stretch? We had NXT Halloween Havoc last weekend, or we can talk some other stuff. I mean, no, we got about 10 minutes left.
Okay. Quick question. Is Sasha Banks overhated?
Ooh. I think that's part of the gimmick. I think she's striving for that because I think that's the whole idea is to be completely like to be over the top with this whole I have a dozen belts at this point. And just like I think that's part of the idea. And to drag this out as long as they can with her just collecting belts before she eventually drops one and then she sends the rest all back or whatever. I mean, I think that's the point at this point, is just to use it for heat. That's what
But that's why I think I'm actually warming up to this run versus Kenny Omega's belt collector thing that he did with the
it's
TNA
better.
thing.
It's definitely better than his version.
Yeah. And even though, and the matches have been competent. I mean, definitely better than when she started at AEW. She's definitely in a better spot right now. Definitely better than when the CEO gimmick first took off. And whether you like it or not, the reason why I say overhated is because it does seem like because she's not doing this in WWE, it's a problem for people. That seems to be the only thing. Had a decent match in England. Nobody cares. Had a decent match in Denmark. Oh, that's just Denmark. Oh, well, she's not making any money. She's doing it for the love of the game. Oh, okay. Well
I'm sure she's getting paid. She didn't go there for no money.
Yeah, well, she
Tony
went
had
to
to open
Winnipeg
that wallet.
She didn't put anybody over. I mean, nobody really gives a shit about these small indie promotions or whatever. This just seems to be another excuse that has nothing to do with the gimmick anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be personal, right now, in that, we just don't like her. Well, why? Because she's not worthy. She has 12 belts. Oh, well, they don't mean anything.
Right.
And it's always something. So it's kind of like, well, where does this level of vitriol come from? Because when she was Sasha 2 belts in WWE, she's part of the 4 Horsewomen.
Right. Yeah. Totally different deal.
It's funny how that works out. But
Damien.
Yeah, go ahead, Damien.
Wait, you want to follow up on this, or you want to talk about something different?
No, go ahead.
You're a women's wrestling guy, so
I was going to say, as a former Sasha Banks apologist, I will say that going all the way back to Mercedes KV on the Indies, I didn't like where this was going at first. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of her in-ring work. Of course, her promos have always been lackluster. That's fine, but I'm slowly getting off the ledge of how far are we going to take this? Because now I'm interested to see how many belts she can collect. Like she's collecting Funko Pops. Right. If she gets to 20, what are people's heads going to explode when she gets to 2025? Right? Yeah. Because all this is doing, hopefully, all this really is doing, besides putting money in her pocket, is whoever beats her is going to be the new Grand Poobah of the women's division within AEW. At least that's the hope. Sort of like when they built up Jade and then she finally lost the belt to Chris Statlander. Thankfully now Chris is fine where she is. But that's the only reason I see this going so far. It's like, okay, let's get to 20. Mm-hmm. And then at 20, we'll have her, like you said, we'll have her drop the title and then mail the rest back, UPS ground shipping. Right. But I wish I could say the matches were memorable. I think the gimmick or the storyline is way more memorable than the matches. And to Crab's point, yes, serviceable is the word I would use for a lot of the matches. But as far as the IWC is concerned, they haven't liked her even when she was a member of the 4 Horsewomen. For whatever reason, she's gotten the goat of people in the IWC. Either she doesn't sign their things at the airport at 4:00 in the morning, or, well, she's not as good as Charlotte or Becky. Now it's the promos. When she first debuted, remember, it was about the promos. And now it's too many belts, Monet. But for me, she is overhated because it's almost as if no one has anything better to do than to complain about her work. And sometimes now, I don't agree with Cornette much, but when even he starts saying, hey, y'all might need to chill the hell out. Mm-hmm. That's when y'all need to chill the hell out, because the IWC, as often as we give them guff for a lot of things they do, it's working. It's working. People hate it in a good way, and whoever beats her is going to be hopefully a bona fide megastar. So get to 20, and then I can't wait to see what happens after.
Well, yeah, it seems like, the inevitable destination with all this is she doesn't have the AEW Women's World title. She has the TBS title. So that's the belt that's been missed. That feels like that has to be the ultimate destination on this, is she can have all these other ones, but she doesn't have that one piece there at AEW yet. She's just been dominating the TBS title and carrying around all these smaller indie belts. So you would think that would be the big piece, or she tries for that and she doesn't win that, but she doesn't lose the others, or there's different ways you could go with that. I think for me, at first I didn't like it either. I was like, whatever. And then it was somewhere around once we got past that point of 5 or 6 is where it started becoming absurd. And then when it just kept going, that became okay, wait a second. Now she's just pissing people off. And now it's kind of working. That was the key. Once people started throwing hissy fits online every time she'd get another one, that's where it kind of became, Yeah, no, I totally agree. These belts are, but whatever. These are little indie belts. Whatever. I'm worried about some Polish women's title or some Italian women's title or whatever. But it being used in this way makes it funny because, goddamn, y'all say y'all don't care, but you all certainly seem like you do.
So how does this end? Does she just go around the world again and systematically lose her belts over the next year?
I doubt it. I don't think that happens. I think she eventually loses one, and then she starts sending them back.
She starts vacating the rest, and that's why I see it going.
I would like to see, and this is way outside of the box because I like it outside of the box. I would like to see she gets up to 20 and has a rematch clause with all 20. And now you have, no. So all of them come to AEW because she is the TBS champion.
What happens in AEW?
And you have, because why would you have this on the Indies? You have all of these rematch clauses happen in one match for the Sasha Banks Invitational. You make it about her. It's a 20 woman over the top battle royal or a 20 belt ladder match or something absolutely fucking ridiculous,
something crazy.
Bring back the 3-tiered cage, with
triple dome of terror. There we go.
Yeah,
a belt in every corner of the triple dome of terror. There we go.
Grab a belt and run. She can't defend them all. I mean, there's a lot of different crazy ass things that they can do with this. Where they can just have an Easter egg hunt with belts, and whoever grabs one wins it. I mean, I think that there's a lot of fun that they can have with it, and then of course, seeing the belt be defended on international television is a boon for the title that she's representing, for the promotion that she is the belt of. Having somebody Jody Threat appear on AEW isn't going to do anything to hurt AEW, and she's already been on there once or twice. I think it would be a great, kind of final way to end this while she absolutely pursues the top title.
Let me work Scott Ferris in here on YouTube watching tonight. I see her getting hurt, in quotes, and vacating the titles, and that way she won't have to take an L.
She's getting NBA hurt.
Yeah. Or Sol Ruka hurt, as they got that Women's North American title offer in NXT without her having to do a deal. But strangely, she can take bumps still, even though she says she's not cleared and she's on crutches.
Well, she also vacated the speed title this past Tuesday.
Yeah.
So
but the key with the Sol Ruka thing, though, is that it's not Seth Rollins where got hurt, disappeared. Yeah. Sol Ruka's around and doing stuff. So it's like, oh, she's hurt. She's that kind of hurt. We're using that convenience. That's my thinking. I just keep thinking, I think Sasha loses the TBS title eventually. And Mercedes, I should say Mercedes. Mercedes loses the TBS title. That's the big one since that started the whole thing. And then the rest end up in a box, like Damian said, and conveniently get sent back everywhere. I don't know. In an ideal world, yes, she'd make a return trip to all these places, but I don't see her going back and taking all these losses in all these random far-flung places. I don't know, unless she just wants to travel. I mean, maybe. I mean, hey, if she did, more power to her, but that's not usually how these things end up when these things happen.
Well, but then again, if they're paying her to come out there the first time and she already has the belt, there's definitely money to be made to come out there a second time. She's doing a House of Glory show in a couple weeks in New York. And it's a big deal that they're promoting. It's not like this is just some random show. Like is the card. So it's definitely worth it for them to bring him out there. And they're obviously working deals in Poland, in the UK, in Seattle, and Queens.
Money out there.
Exactly. Before we get out of here, the two things that I want to touch on. Number one, if you're still playing WWE 2K24, good on you. But the servers were supposed to shut down for the game back in September. That actually got pushed back to March 31st next year. So if you still enjoy your 2K24, you have until the end of March to do that. The second thing is Big E Langston, because that's his name to me, he does Cameo. It's $60. Great. All of his Cameo proceeds are going to go to Feed It America, which is a big ass food bank. And a lot of those things are going to help people across the country, especially those affected by the government shutdown. So if you've ever thought about doing getting the cameo, if you've ever thought about getting one from Big E, not only do you get to help yourself by having him, shout you out or whatever you need to do, but you also help Feeding America, which is a giant food bank that's going to help a lot of people, especially as we go into the winter during this holiday season. So a lot of Big E doing good.
That's a common theme with him. Big E is a good guy.
He's such a good guy.
Good egg.
I lied. There you go. Damien, anything you want to throw in here before I take us home?
Sure. Really quickly, if you watch Halloween Havoc, you saw Tatum Paxley win the women's NXT championship, and I will say well-deserved. When she first came in, she didn't have a wrestling background, like a lot of the NIL people that came in over the last couple of years. But when the trope of, well, I worked hard to get here.
Right.
Oh, she has. She's taken, I guess, a Victoria's Psycho gimmick 2.0 and lost her tag team partners when they had the brief Chemical X Powerpuff Girls with Priscilla Kelly and Shotzi Blackheart. And now she's in this Cullen, which I thought that was going to be the death knell for her. And she won. And she beat Super Duper Senior JC Jane, who, again, it was a great women's match. The ref shenanigans with sending people to the back, that's always fun. Like the "you are out of here" trope, that's always hilarious to me. So all that to say, women's wrestling in NXT, if you haven't watched, start watching it, because in my humble opinion, it's lapping the men's division, and it's not even close.
Oh, it's been the case for a while. Definitely excited for Tatum
For
Paxley
all those
to get
who
this
don't
run.
know about it, now you should know. Go watch NXT.
Yeah, I will throw it in there. We might have to talk about this next week, but someone you need to be keeping your eye on is Kendall Gray.
Yep.
Kendall Gray is
Agreed.
quickly coming up. She's the Evolve Women's Champion right now. I don't think that's going to be for long because she's clearly too good for Evolve, and how she might be too good for NXT. That girl's polished and coming together very quickly. It's very exciting to see a fresh face that seems to have all the pieces clicking and coming together very quickly. So Kendall Gray, one to keep an eye on there. All right, folks, we might get into that next week. We'll see. Let's take it home now, as we do each and every week. Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. You can find us here streaming live on X, over on YouTube, over on Twitch, you name it. Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast is streaming live 8 p.m. Eastern each and every Thursday night. If you joined us late tonight, the show lives on YouTube. So we have the video version living on there, the stream. If you didn't catch the beginning, it can be found on the Big Gold Belt Media webpage on YouTube. It is there along with the audio version. So if you're just looking for audio, we have you covered with both audio, video on the Big Gold Belt Media page on YouTube. On social media, you can find us at Big Gold Belt, whether we're talking Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, X, you name it. Big Gold Belt is where you can find us. And last but not least, on the web, BigGoldBelt.com, the home of Big Gold Belt Media, wrestling, movies, comics, and more. We are one day before Halloween. Talked about a lot of the spooky movies last week that were coming out. Frankenstein's in theaters right now. Did anyone see Frankenstein? I'm curious about that. I'm waiting for Netflix on that. Neither of y'all touched it. Okay. Crab, what we got? What we got? What we got coming for us as we head into November?
So the big thing this week is Bugonia with was it Emma Stone?
Yes.
It's from the dude that did the other weird movie that she was in last year. So if you like that bit of weirdness, then this may be good for you. The K-pop Demon Hunters will not go away, so they're doing another sing-along because it's Halloween. And then, of course, if you Twilight and Frankenstein's throughout the years, and all of these things are hitting theaters this weekend. So if you want to see some spooky movies from really the last 70 years of movies, a lot of them are coming back this weekend in theaters. So just check your local theaters for that. But realistically, it's kind of flat until we get into the middle of November.
And the holiday stuff starts coming.
Yeah, the holiday stuff, but and then Predator for some reason. So that comes out next weekend. But yeah, not a super huge lot, but that doesn't mean that there isn't something good for you in the theaters. It's just that it's a lot of spooky stuff, and I don't do spooky.
All right. There you go. Well, either way, folks, we have tons of coverage on Big Gold Belt Media. So whether you check out the website or check out the YouTube page, check out the reels on Instagram, all that good stuff, Big Gold Belt Media has it covered: wrestling, movies, comics, and more. All right, folks. We will be back next Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Guess we'll be talking Saturday night's main event. We should have a new champion by then. To get into that, we'll be on the road to Survivor Series. Kind of got to get Survivor Series pieces, some kind of idea what's happening there. But either way, next Thursday night, 8 p.m., we'll be talking about it. So in the meantime, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, all that good stuff. Get your notifications set up for when we're going live. And we'll see you next week. Until then, watch some wrestling, see some movies, all that good stuff. Halloween's tomorrow night. Have some fun with that. And we will talk to you later.